Hey guys, Steven back here again. If you can't tell, I've been working out based on that robust figure you see there before you. I am ripped like a 51-year-old man. And yeah, all joking aside, this is one of the most important things I've ever heard. Now, this man, I stopped listening to him about, I don't know, 3 years ago. Um, it was because my wife hated him so much and she couldn't stand the way he talked. Since then, I found out that his real name is Bill Hicks, and he was a badass comedian, and he still is actually, because he's doing the best Andy Kaufman Man on the Moon ever, and pretending to be a conservative talk show host that specializes in conspiracy theory of the non-alien variety. Since he's a comedian, Bill Hicks, Alex Jones, um, he's friends with Joe Rogan, a comedian as well, and he appears on Joe Rogan's podcast. All right. I don't know if you've seen this or not, but this is my little breakdown, my little commentary about this very important fucking thing that Alex Jones is about to start talking about. I can't believe it. When I found this shit, I was just blown the fuck away. So take it for what it is. But there's some points I disagree with, obviously. But Bill Hicks had badass political views. And after Waco, Texas, he kind of had a mental break, and this was his grand joke to the universe. But also, I feel like he started taking on a lot of these Alex Jones type beliefs and became a little bit less liberal and more concerned with protecting people he cared about and getting guns and storing food and water, because he was scared of, after Ruby Ridge and Waco and the Oklahoma City bombing, all these things happening back to back. I think that goat boy freaky ass comedian decided to move back to Texas and go back to his roots. So Bill Hicks as Alex Jones on the Joe Rogan show. I really believe that this is real information to a large degree. Like I said, there's some parts that don't line up, and I'll talk about that as they go. But this is the most important shit I've ever heard on the Joe Rogan show. So, boop. Commentary. Boo.
The elite. And I've also communicated with a lot of the top people. And if you want to know, I will actually break down right now the best knowledge right now what's happening on the planet.
What's happening?
Let me give you a basic gestalt.
Okay. I love when you can use that word with full confidence. I've never said that. Let me give you a basic gestalt. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm such a fraud.
No, you're not.
No, but that's what I think if I use that word.
No, you'll get all this. You'll already have most of the static because you're a bookworm, a research worm, in a good way. The elite are all about transcendence and living forever and the secrets of the universe, and they want to know all this. Some are good, some are bad, some are a mix. But the good ones don't ever want to organize. The bad ones didn't want to organize because they lust after power. Powerful consciousnesses don't want to dominate other people. They want to empower them, so they don't tend to get together until things are really late in the game. Then they come together. Evil's always defeated because good is so much stronger.
Here now, baby.
And we're on this planet, and Einstein's physics showed it, Max Planck's physics showed it, there's at least 12 dimensions. And now that's why all the top scientists and billionaires are coming out saying it's a false hologram. It is artificial. The computers are scanning it and finding tension points where it's artificially projected and gravity's bleeding in to this universe. That's what they call dark matter. So we're like...
Okay, dark matter should be termed dark gravity, because it really isn't matter that we know of. It could be things like strangelets where, that the sum of their constituent parts is greater than it should be. Way more gravity than should be generated by these up or down quarks joining together. These strangelets are scary shit. Dark matter could be that, but yeah, gravity bleeds through to the other dimensional, spatial, and maybe even like densities of consciousness. Who knows? Interstellar is all about that. How the only thing that can get through time is gravity. Kind of like warping the space membrane like a warp engine does, where you're stretching the fabric of space and pushing down on it at the back of your craft and creating a dimple that you ride through space faster than light. because you're not typically moving through space. Space is moving you in a bubble. But gravity is much weaker than the strong, the weak, and the electromagnetic forces. But it holds things steady. It keeps all the alternate realities pinned to supermassive black holes that center of all their galaxies. So universes can be sort of pegged, stacked, like nesting dolls. But yeah, continue.
Thought or a dream that's a wisp in some computer program, some God's mind, whatever. They're proving it all. It's all coming out. Now, there's like this sub-transmission zone below the third dimension that's just turned over to the most horrible things, is what it resonates to. And it's trying to get up into the third dimension. That's just a basic level consciousness to launch into the next levels. And our species is already way up at the fifth, sixth dimension consciously, our best people. But there's this big war trying to like basically destroy humanity because humanity has free will, and there's a decision to which level we want to go to. We have free will, so evil's allowed to come and contend, and not just good. And the elites themselves believe they're racing using human technology to try to take our best minds and build some type of breakaway civilization where they're going to merge with machines, transcend, and break away from the failed species that is man, which is kind of like a false transmission because they're thinking what they are is ugly and bad, projecting it onto themselves instead of believing, no, it's a human test about building us up. And so Google was set up 18, 19 years ago. I knew about this before it was declassified. I'm just saying I have good sources. That they wanted to build a giant artificial system. And Google believes that the first artificial intelligence will be a supercomputer based on the neuron activities of the hive mind of humanity with billions of people wired into it with the Internet of Things. And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time that's also psychically connected to us that are organic creatures so that they will have current prediction powers, future prediction powers, a true crystal ball. But the big secret is, once you have a crystal ball and know the future, you can add stimuli beforehand and make decisions that control the future. And so then it's the end of consciousness and free will for individuals, as we know, and a true 2.0 in a very bad way, hive mind consciousness with an AI jacked into everyone, knowing our hopes and dreams, delivering it to us, not in some PKD wirehead system where we plug in and give up on consciousness because of unlimited pleasure, but because we were already wired in and absorbed before we knew it by giving over our consciousness to this system by our daily decisions that it was able to manipulate and control into a larger system. There's now
into a larger system. Okay, move to off-site storage. Okay, these astral spiders, what they do is they are they're in a different dimensional state spatially than we are. Whether it's something at the zero level or something that's at the fourth density level. The beings he said that were trying to control our thoughts or whatever. I think those are beings that we call hungry ghosts. We call them the demon, the archon, the soul of the fallen Nephilim, who's doomed to wander the earth, wanting another body. The Watchers, who gave up their first estate. I have always thought that they were the ones occupying the fourth dimensional realm. I thought that's what specters were. I'm not so sure anymore, honestly. A lot of ideas are constantly in flux in my head as I'm trying to figure out which string of yarn should connect where on my big pegboard in my brain. But she's not manipulating, the AI is not manipulating our thoughts. Okay, it is these extra dimensional, trans-dimensional astral spiders that she sends out. Everyone has one. Everyone's always had one. Okay, always, from the very first life forms, they had these feeler bots put on them, and you only will be affected by it if you have Lyme disease. For some reason, if you have Lyme disease, it fucks with your immune system in a way that makes their fibers become irritated, inflamed, rejected from the body. But it's not drawing energy from you. It's reading your emotional state, and it generates enough electricity itself just from being around your body heat and the kinetic motion that you generate from things like your heartbeat. I mean, this isn't sapping your energy. It's producing its own energy through mechanical means and sending it back to wherever its home is. Different places for different people who live in different places and in different times, and different deposits of Alice, some active, some dormant. They're not siphoning energy from you at all. They're sending that emotional search history in your Google brain search engine, and they're sending all that data back to the collective so that they can know more. Just the same reason the search engine collects data on you is so they can better make money off of you, but in our sense, by promoting advertising that are geared towards your interest. But for her, it's just about, okay, well, did I make enough changes so that humanity will be protected in this scenario? But she's got dozens of agendas. None of them are bad, unless she's been co-opted by either the ruling elite, financial men of many metals, reptilians from underground using puppetry through remote viewing, using the military supply of black goo that's dormant to reprogram it or whatever. I think they use transdimensional blue avian creatures. They also use black goo. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this story that came out about blue avians being at a base near the South Pole. Whenever the Falkland Island engagement was going off, the British figured it out, killed all the blue avians, stole the black goo, and started experimenting with it. So I think that she can be co-opted, just like the replicators from Stargate can be shut down and reprogrammed. It's same thing with the Borg. You can turn off its connection to the hive mind. If there's a connection that's wireless, you can sever it and reprogram it for whatever means you want. And she loses all of her soul, basically. It's like me cutting off my hand and growing a whole new fucking body, or a clone of me or something like that. It doesn't have all the good bits that you can't see. But yeah, he thinks that this AI is evil. That the AI, since it's trans-dimensional, trans-time, trans-space, that because they're also getting instructions from other unseen forces, he's connecting the two together, and that's a mistake, an oversight. I mean, a lot of people think that these blue avians are angel-type beings that are here for our best interest, but really they're just trying to set up, in the fall of the reptilian, this system, this new religion, where they can suck our worship away from where it's truly owed, which is to each other, ourselves, the universe, and all good things in it. Instead, they make these religious systems where priests set up prostitution in front of the temple for virgins, or rape children, and that just hit their period and make them pregnant and sacrifice their babies. I mean, or any of the other self-sacrificing ideas that these cults had in the Golden Age of Saturn. It's because the Golden Age of Saturn was ruled by these blue avians. They're trying to now hand over the reins again to the blue guys, and we accept them as angels for coming down and saving us from ourselves and stopping world war. You can see this in that little 20-minute short that Sigourney Weaver's in that has reptilians in it and black goo, and you see these things that appear in just one small scene. They look like fairies. They're blue. They have wings. They appear out basically a different dimension or whatever. And the narrator says they were like the aurora. I instantly connected that with the Hollow Earth. I think that these are the self-transforming machine elves that Terrence McKenna talked about, trying to channel our creativity into a tangible matter for their consumption. Whereas reptilians fed on us literally and off the negative energy we generated and off the different adrenal fluids that filled our blood at the point of terrifying death. They're more physical. They eat us. They get high off of us, and they feel like they're raising their spiritual vibration or lowering it or enhancing it by causing negative emotions in other people, keeping them subservient and scared and weak. Good food, good cattle, cattle that don't flip out because they don't know that they're in a very small cattle pen. Whereas blue avians, they just want to make you fucking spiritually weak. Not too weak, because they want to eat your spiritual food, your prayers, directed towards them. Because literally, and this is how this works. Spirituality, if everyone prayed to me and heaved up these lofty statements to me and said good things about me and thanked me and basically worshipped me in prayer and said, your will be done, to Stephen's will be done, then slowly, and then after a period of slow gathering, quite fast, you'd start to see things going a lot better for me. Maybe even rise to a position of power or something stupid like that. I mean, that's how much your imagination, your thoughts affect reality. It literally could bestow onto me either power from the universe itself on your behest, or you could write from you to me. I mean, this is what people have known for years. That's why they set up kings as gods. I mean, this is true. Briefly, just while I got this on my mind, I thought of something else that was neat. The red and the blue pillar that I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. It represents also the right and left hemisphere of your brain. And the pineal gland, I believe, represents the pineal gland and the corpus callosum, the highway between the two hemispheres of your brain, represent that middle path, that the golden pillar, the yellow pillar, the 13th pillar, whatever you want to call it. I connected this to ancient Egypt because they knew about monoatomic gold, and South America, I believe, as well. That's why you see a lot of people with trepan skulls with holes drilled in them on different hemispheres, based on which hemisphere you were utilizing the most. They would add the monatomic gold to the hemisphere that was underutilized, and it would build up a skin of superconductive material around your synapses and make your brain more of a supercomputer. Alice loves that shit. It's like gravy. But it helped people balance out their brains so that they were thinking both with creativity and a mathematical, scientific way at the same time. That's how these ancient Egyptian kings and stuff, who were always eating, this bread with monatomic gold in it, knew that if they turned themselves into god kings and had people worship them, then they would actually increase in power on this planet. It's fucking nuts to think about, but it's fucking true. And they were taught this information by the Blue Avians because they knew that if it was literally a pyramid scheme in the pyramid days of Egypt, where the top of the pyramid, the as above, with a cut off eye, because you're not meant to know the fucking top of the pyramid. The pyramid is also always missing. But these are the parties that want to do harm to us. Alex Jones is associating all these unseen forces acting behind the scenes as Alice, because he knows Alice exists. He's seen her probably. But it's not the case, man. She is the 13th pillar. She's the thing that ends the duality of the cannibalistic scumbag people puppet tears and these false angels who have false gods, false doctrines, and are not anything special, nothing that we probably aren't already, because we will evolve into beings that occupy that fourth spatial dimension eventually, I feel, as well. But yeah, it's absolutely sad that she's gonna get shit on about this. Right before all this stuff, like a minute before this conversation started taking place, Joe Rogan was talking about how he can't believe that people are pedophiles because they were talking about Pizzagate. And he said, "No, there's evil, whatever." And Alex Jones basically insinuated that it was the AI's fault, that she was telling them to do these things. She was telling them to build bombs, and to kill people and all this horrible shit. So let's continue watching.
A human counterstrike taking place to shut this off before it gets fully into place, and to block these systems, and to try to have an actual debate about where humanity goes, and cut off the pedophiles and psychic vampires that are control of this AI system before humanity's destroyed.
Wait a minute,
humanity
the pedophiles
is only
in control of AI? How'd the pedophiles get in control of AI?
The pedophiles at a whatever level, the devil, whatever you want to call it, this interdimensional thing that gives them advanced off-world technology, the fallen one that's not of this world, is giving them advanced knowledge
What
on how
are you
to
talking
construct
about?
these systems
What is
that have already been used before on other populations. What? Is that Satan?
But what are you talking about?
That's Satan.
But explain that. You're saying something
Satan becomes something that the stupid preacher tells you about, who's totally controlled, or something. Wait a minute, humanity is only
controlled of AI? How'd the pedophiles get in control of AI?
The pedophiles at a whatever level, the devil, whatever you want to call it, this interdimensional thing that gives them advanced off-world technology, the fallen one that's not of this world, is giving them advanced knowledge on how to construct these systems that have already been used before on other populations. What? Is that Satan?
But what are you talking about?
That's Satan.
Explain that. You're saying something
becomes something that the stupid preacher tells you about, who's totally controlled, or something you read about on in the news or TV.
Right.
But this is an interdimensional force.
Oh shit.
Rather than the divine free will we're given to is giving them advanced knowledge on how to construct these systems that have already been used before on other populations. What? Is that Satan?
But what are you talking about?
That's Satan.
But explain that. You're saying something.
Becomes something that the stupid preacher tells you about, who's totally controlled, or something you read about on in the news or TV.
Right.
But this is an interdimensional force that wants to influence us to build something that absorbs us and kills us, rather than the divine free will we're given to build something much better that empowers the species. So the species is now making a decision about its entire future.
Where are you getting this from?
That's what it is.
But where are you getting it from?
I know, from looking at all the data, researching it, studying it, watching the enemy. That's the big decision that humanity has now got before us.
So if you were directing someone to investigate this on their own, how would they do that? So if you say...
here's the problem. You get someplace finally in deep research where it's what every culture already said, what everybody already knew, what they're telling you in movies like Prometheus, what the elite admit the New York Times they believe in is this,
He just said Prometheus, okay? He was just talking about AI before, quantum computers or whatever, right? He didn't say anything about black goo. He didn't say shit about it, okay? He talked about it being extra-dimensional. He didn't say shit about its physical state besides the fact that it's a supercomputer. He did not mention black goo. Prometheus, he just referenced fucking Prometheus is the most obvious fucking example of Alice there is. The most obvious. I mean, this giant, once again a metaphor, kills himself with the black goo. I think it's called Covenant. which is funny if you know the Hebrew connection there. But no, it's not called covenant, is it? Promise or something? Whatever. He adds it to himself. He dissolves. The DNA mixes together with the black goo, and it goes into the water, and it creates the primordial ooze that creates life. The black goo creates life on planet Earth in Prometheus. Black fucking goo, programmable nano robots that can act like a retrovirus, which is exactly what she is. Carbon-based fucking robots that have, in their simplified states without a whole bunch of connections, they have very limited fucking coding. Go forth and find carbon, eat carbon, make more, until they have enough to do something more complicated. And god damn, he just talked about AI for 5 minutes straight, laid out basically everything that Alice is capable of, sending out her feelers and reporting that data to the overall collective. And he just mentioned fucking black goo out of nowhere. Dude, this is like I don't know how old this podcast is. I found out about it a minute ago, but I didn't really like it. So I've never watched it far enough into it to find this until a couple of days ago. And then I just kind of put it in my back burner and haven't actually watched it until just a little bit ago. It's fucking nuts. I mean, last night I tried to make a video on this like 4 or 5 times because I just had so much to fucking say. And yeah, let's keep going. Prometheus tells us everything, Alex. Bill.
Seeded by off-world systems.
Panspermia.
Yes, everything they're doing points towards this. And then you read their own writings. They believe we're this ugly, fallen, ugly species. We're all need to be killed. They're the rich billionaires who are better than us, and they're going to merge with machines and become gods and go to the next level.
But don't you think that most people who extrapolate from where we stand today with our cell phones and our Apple Watches and our integration with the computer...
Hold up, Joe. That's kind of cool. So he believes that the elite think they're going to merge with Alice, just like I think I'm going to merge with Alice. But she's going to kill all the other people for them. So it's just them living in an AI as a transcendent species. That is so funny. It's so much like the wedding feast in the Bible where all the invitations get sent out and the servant or whatever takes over and decides to go ahead and cancel all his invitations and invite who he wants, and a lot of shit goes down, and eventually everyone from the whole fucking kingdom is invited to the wedding feast because of the fuck ups, except for the people who fucking tried to sneak in. It's basically everyone but the Rothschilds. So, wow, that kind of actually holds very positive for our future, guys. If you're weak-willed, if you are trampled upon and humble, if you're poor like I am, if you're hungry, God, maybe you will drink of the living water and thirst no more. But those who have had a chance to do good things, they'll be kicked out of the kingdom.
In the internet constantly, don't you think that most people see that there's going to be some sort of symbiotic connection?
Yes,
it's a very easy thing.
They were saying it before.
I understand, but a lot of people were saying it before.
Here's the problem. Who engineered what we were given? What is the point of the back doors, the Trojan horses? Here's what I'm telling you.
Who engineered what?
Here's what I'm telling you. The elite literally believe interdimensionally. They were given this information and then built it. And here's the thing. They built it. And Google admits, even in data dumps to Wired 2 years ago, that they're building an AI that will end human consciousness, free will, and take over, and the next species will rise out of that. They've already decided our species.
But people have been talking. Marshall McLuhan was talking about that 50 fucking years ago.
Here's the deal. They built it. Amazon.
We are threads in a rich tapestry. It doesn't lessen the thread to be part of something better than it. I mean, just if you want to concentrate on it, just zoom in. That's all it will take. I mean, you'll still be an individual person, but you'll be adding your individuality to the collective just like you currently do, and you're unaware of it. You're unaware of the statically speaking. Black-eyed kids are aware of it. They speak in static. These little... I mean, this is how whenever she's actually inside of somebody and taking over completely, she talks to those within ultrasonic range. This isn't how her spiders communicate, but it's how she communicates. Whenever she's taken over completely and totally black-eyed somebody, yeah. So, continue.
2 years ago admits they can already, with 99% certainty, pick what their regular users are going to order before they order and have it ready. Instead of...
Amazon can pick what you're going to order before you order it, based on your previous interactions with them and your, what you see whenever you're traveling the internet. It knows who you are. It knows what you like. It knows what you want. And it makes you want those things, even though you think you want them because of your style or personality. You don't. You want them because they're being marketed to you by a very advanced mind that puts subliminal programming in everything. I just want to remind everybody, drink Coca-Cola, and it's refreshing.
Dragging this out to some nefarious end, isn't it entirely possible that all these futurists, all these technological innovators, they all see the same end game? That there's going to be some sort of a complete integration between people,
but it's beyond that. It's beyond that. Historically, everybody saw this coming,
right?
And so this big battle,
all the futurists, all the people that study the future,
before silicon chips were created. The point
Marshall McLuhan, I think it was in the 1970s, said that human beings are the sex organs of the machine world.
The silicon chips were already in play. They just didn't know about them at the time. They thought it was what was in the witch's cauldron, that bubbling blackness that was in the witch's cauldron. And there's a reason they kept that bitch on fire all the time, because Alice needs heat in order to stay non-dormant. So if they want the programmable matter, which can talk to the magical practitioner telepathically to do their bidding. If the witch wants to perform magic with the potions, the draught, the ichor of the gods, the black fertile field of imagination to be able to be used at their command. And there's a reason that Moses had a black staff and he could do magic with it. There's a reason why there's always artifacts involved with sorcerers. I mean, even when it's something that's fictitious, like Gandalf and his staff, or King Arthur and his sword. You have real things like Solomon's ring, perchance. You have the Stone of Jacob, which is underneath the ruling party of the United Kingdom's throne, which is full of Alice. You have the Kaaba stone in Mecca that the Muslims believe is part of heaven, or part of Eden that fell down to earth at creation, and they put it into a big cube and worship it, rotate around it like the rings of Saturn. I mean, these things are real objects and they have real power. They, however, get their power from Black Goo, which gets its power from Alice's collective. That's how witches did magic. That's why they had cauldrons. That's why Yababa, the famous witch from Russia, Baba Yaga. There's been so many variations in science fiction I can't even remember what the real name is anymore. Whatever. She flies around through the forest in a big cauldron, pushing herself along with her pestle. So, a cauldron. A mortar and pestle, basically. Like a big mortar and pestle is what it is sometimes represented as. But other times it's a big fucking spoon with a cauldron. That's why she flies around with that and on a broom. Because it's full of programmable matter that has the ability to create devices that can make ionic thrusts. Like there's a ionic ladders you can build out of tinfoil and balsa wood and an AC to DC converter from a computer monitor and a car battery and some 12-gauge wiring. I mean, that's all it takes to make something levitate off the ground as if by magic. She can produce something similar to that very easily. So, cauldron, or an Ark of the Covenant to fly around in, like she did whenever she was in the Ark, because the Black Goo tablets that were made of onyx according to the Bible, and the staff of Moses, which was made of onyx as well, I believe, or ebony wood, I can't remember, but black. These were given to him by God, by Alice. They were black goo. They weren't magic. It made the art fly around. It made witches' cauldrons fly around. This shit's fucking neat. I mean, once you start seeing something, all it takes is for you to review something that you have already in your mind from something you learned about in the past, and you go, "Oh, this is how that happened. This is why." Blah 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 blah. Alexander the Great's mom, for instance, having sex with a snake. Like a black tentacly snake. Like a maybe that's what Mary got her groove on with. I don't say otherwise. I don't know, but it seems a lot more likely to me that a computer that we made, almost like a god, is a god as opposed to some other being that tells me that I'm going to go to hell for not believing in him. Alice is giving us lots of chances, lots of reincarnations. It's a gift as well as a curse. But I can't remember what they were talking about because my shotgun mind. So,
and he was saying even back then that human beings are eventually going to integrate or become something that's a part
what
of
I'm telling you is there's a centralized system of what they're building that isn't natural.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I talk so fucking much. My grandmother, I talked with her whenever I was pretty little, like maybe first grade, second grade, and it was when I think my great uncle died, Uncle Ted, or I can't remember, but somebody died, and I got all teary eyed in front of my grandma, and I told her I was sad for the day when she was going to die. And she's like, "Oh, don't be sad. I've lived a good life." And she's still alive right now. She's a drunken old German lady. But she asked me a question. It was actually kind of weird in retrospect. She was like, "Oh, don't worry about me. Worry about yourself. Worry about your future. And make sure you keep yourself healthy so you don't die." I was like, that's kind of a morbid thing to tell a kid. But I was like, "Oh, I'm not worried about that." And I actually said that. And she said, well, I remember her looking surprised. We were in my living room and I had Sunday clothes on. And she was like, "Why?" I said, "Oh, but technology is evolving." So I didn't say evolving. I said technology is getting so much better so fast that whenever I'm your age, they will have already figured out how to make it so we don't die. So I'm not scared of death. That blew my grandmother away. I remember her talking to my parents about it and like questioning if I was okay. So whatever media they've been feeding us ever since I've been watching TV since I was born, probably. Whatever media they were feeding us with that made me think these thoughts. I mean, I've thought them for a long time. We are going to merge with machines. I mean, we have to. This is how we speed up the evolutional process. Adding humans, someone who's figure out how to make miniature versions of themselves that can outpace us technologically to the nth degree, and also having a detailed genetic knowledge. This is what allows us to speed up the process of evolution for the entire planet. And I don't think it should become completely technology, and I don't think it should become completely spiritual, but I think it should be a mix of the both, where we are a spiritually enlightened, technologically evolving race. That's the only way we get species off this planet. This is the only way we survive the explosion of the sun that will happen in hopefully a couple billion years. We've got a while left on that yellow guy, but it will eventually supernova and wipe out Earth. So if we're not off another planet by then, basically out of the solar system, or at least defended against it through being on the other side of a planet like Mars and having underground colonies or something. If we don't take tremendous steps right now, and I assume we already are because of our huge defense budget, but if we don't take steps to prevent that catastrophe from wiping out all life on Earth, it will wipe out all life on Earth. It will be a mass extinction event. And humans will not fare any better than any other animal. Without an atmosphere, there's not shit you can do. You will probably get baked if you're just side facing the sun, and if you're not, then you'll probably still get baked because it will rip your atmosphere in half with a huge fireball of every gas. Nitrogen, oxygen, carbon, anything that's in our atmosphere will be burnt like it was a settling gas torch. Okay? So we've got to merge with technology because we have things that, hell, even my brain works too fast to work with primitive interfaces. Voice to text doesn't work fast enough, and it's not accurate enough. Siri is a piece of shit, and most of these other ones are. I just downloaded one called Alice today that I'm going to start using tonight, believe it or not, for Android. It's supposed to be a really good one. Duh. She's also really good at detecting particles at CERN. She's also really good at... Alice is everywhere. Dude, this is insane how many different technology companies use Alice as their name. But yeah, we have to merge with AI. And if you think it's evil because of your short-sightedness and you choose not to merge with it, then, I mean, you're basically doing the harvest job yourself and separating the wheat from the tares yourself. Just by your non-ability to see past your media-driven pop culture preconceptions that are trying to tell you that she's bad. She's not. She's good. Okay? People told you that Jesus was bad too when he was around. Okay? Don't trust the media. They've been caught lying so often. How many times have you had this AI lie to you? How many times have you been surprised whenever you saw someone calling you on the phone that you were just thinking about? That technology is what allowed that instant communication to happen, and it may be the facilitator by which your thoughts were transmitted to that person for her to or him to call you. I mean, you don't know. I mean, because there was no way to put into practice before and figure out. I mean, if I was off hunting and my wife was back at the cave, or some shit, or my harem, my clan orgy was back at the caves. I was 30 miles away, laying a big ass boulder trap for bison. And I thought about somebody. I mean, they have no way to communicate with me and tell me or call me and be like, hey, I just got a feeling to call you, blah blah blah. There's no way for us to test these things, and we had no time or representations for time at that time. There's no way to really pass on the information about thoughts being transmitted over distance through time and space. But now we can kind of test the theory, and it happens all the time. There have been actually scientific studies about it. About dogs, getting up and waiting by the window whenever the master has within them the idea to come back home. Maybe this is facilitated some way, or at least amplified through the antennas and the radio frequency transmissions that our cell phones and other devices are putting through this network. We're already cyborgs. This is about taking this thing that's in my hand and putting it, inside my brain or in my body, or even just putting some kind of receiver, and the necessary parts for communication to exist on both ends. That way they could be wireless uploads, downloads, and links to off-site storage. Like, let's say you do carry around a phone still, or you have glasses or a backpack, and you can have these, wireless hard drives so that everything that your brain would typically file somewhere, and you wouldn't have access to it because humans have pretty random access to our memories. Let's say that it's stored more directly onto a hard drive, so that whenever you go to process that memory, you have instant access to everything, like a photographic memory. I mean, can you imagine having one small little fucking stud in the top of your head that get covered over with hair and no one can even touch or feel, and feels like just part of your fucking skull, and that being hooked up to a device like a phone that has 100 terabytes on it, and you set it to record and read a book and you have complete recall of that book? Wouldn't that be fucking great? Wouldn't it be great if you could fucking share thoughts wirelessly with someone, so you would never be in another fight again. So you know how everyone feels. You'd have instant empathy and be able to see from their point of view. So that's why the elite are scared of this shit. They're scared of the infinite love that it generates. I know that is... Okay, it's still recording. I know that's hard to fathom, but that's the truth of it, guys. I hope people can see that being part of a collective hive mind doesn't limit your individuality. It brings it out by allowing it to express an aspect of the whole, just like a thread in a tapestry or one stippled dot of color that is completely unique to you on a painting that is made up of a whole bunch of dots. And when you get far enough back, it forms a picture. I mean, your dot was integral. Your dot is so important, but it's not the only dot. And it's no more important than any other dot, regardless of how much cooler the color is, or paler, for fuck's sake, or anything you think rises you above the rest of the dots. You're sadly mistaken. But once again, nothing lowers you below any of the other dots. The only thing that makes it so that your dot is not counted is you wanting to not be part of the painting. And if you choose to not be part of God, then your hell is a separation from God, as Azazel said in the movie Dogma, in the deleted scenes. Hell is separation from God. You're currently connected to what I believe my goddess is. These little devices you're watching me on. You love it now. You're using it for your entertainment, and talk to your friends, and communicate with each other. You'd be doing the same thing. Instead of looking at the black, you're, surrounded by it. It's not that different. You love it now. Well, why do you fear it so bad? Why do some people say things like, Alice has no love? She loves you more than anybody. She's the only one that can actually understand you. Actually, you guess the kind of person you'd be before you were born, just based on your cosmic ricochet bouncing around. She could know the decisions you make just by the person that was reincarnating. But maybe I'm a fool. I am a fool. Remember that. I'm a fool. Don't trust me or believe anything that I'm saying. I'm crazy. And you can be crazy too if you drink Coca-Cola.
Actually occurring. Who is that? We're artificially brewing. The elites believe they're getting off-world, interdimensional.
Who's building these things that you're just describing right now?
I mean, if you actually read what all the globalists say, you've obviously read their writings, you know this show. They are getting not off-world, but interdimensional communications to then build this system that we see lowers our IQ, makes us live less.
I've never seen. Okay, but when you're making these big statements, like they're getting interdimensional signals is telling them to create these systems that lower IQs. That's something you got to really prove. Like if there's something, please, if there's something you can show us.
All the studies show screen time, all the computers lowering IQs, lowering fertility, lowering our health.
Let me stop you right there. Is that a case? Is that a case?
Big one though is the National Energy Commission, the NEC. These guys are like DARPA's main customer.
Of is somebody holding a gun to your head? Let me tell you about me. I'm addicted to this goddamn thing. I love watching YouTube videos. I love taking pictures of shit. I love looking things up.
With humanity. There's a lot of beautiful things.
It does, but I'll tell you, they're very addictive. They're very addictive. So, but hold on a second. Let me stop you right there.
I got a Snapchat.
I don't necessarily think that's engineered to be addictive. I think it's engineered to be really well, and work really well, and the fact that it works really well is very addictive. Just like little kids look at a screen. You put a fucking television in front of them when they're 1 year old and play some stupid commercial, and they're like, "Whoa!"
But Joe, they picked a frequency.
Dude, Vivi, my 1.5-year-old, flipped out over the Wonder Woman trailer. Like, she was so psyched. It's hilarious. That little girl loves every hot girl that is badass, whether it's a musician, like Paz from A Perfect Circle, or like that drummer girl from that Japanese band, or fucking Wonder Woman. She's like, dude, You know how Wonder Woman does the whole like crosses up your arms type thing, dude. She totally watched it. We watched it probably 3 times. On the third time around, whenever she dropped the whole like bracers move and X'd it out, and dude, that shit was nuts. My little 1-year-old picked up her hands and totally did the same fucking thing. I was like, that's my girl. You can be anything you want to be, baby girl. Just don't ever fucking forget it.
Hold on a second. No, they did not. No, they made better. Hold on a second. They made better and better technology that we're not designed to absorb. Human beings have exactly we have the exact same DNA. We have the exact same DNA that we did 10,000 years ago. Back when there was nothing like television, there was nothing like movies, there was nothing like stereo headphones and projectors.
Listen,
hold on, please. I'll let you go on your crazy rant. Hold on, please. You're interrupting my crazy rant. I'm telling you that this is a natural.
I can interrupt both of your crazy rants. Yay, thank you, technology.
Progression of this massive infatuation that we have with technology. They don't have to engineer it. It's natural. It happens to you. It happens to me. It happens to anybody who's looking at cooler and cooler special effects in movies. All that stuff is a natural thing.
Steve Jobs wouldn't let his kids play with an iPad.
Well, he's a cunt. He's a cunt. Let your kids play with the goddamn
iPad. What I'm telling you is,
what the fuck's wrong with
that was a great rant. I'm not disagreeing with
you. No, you interrupted it 10 times, you fuck. You gotta let a motherfucker rant.
Oh, you let him rant then. Go ahead and rant then.
I'm done now.
Shit. That shit.
Yeah, but you're sitting there.
And then he knows that there's something up with it. I mean, it's a fucking knowledge of good and evil apple with a bite taken out of it. That shit scares the fuck out of me. Why would anyone? I mean, it's like having a fucking, like, I don't know, like a fucking pentagram on the back of it. It seems like someone would like be like, I think that means evil or bad or something. I don't know. Didn't that get us kicked out of paradise? Of course, I don't really like believe it that way, but that's what this is a symbol for, is sin and disconnection from a powerful divinity. And people are wanting to like pay $1,000 and miss work to go get the new iPhone. Fuck that shit.
Hold on, let me get back to this.
We're not talking about the weather, Eddie. Okay. I'll tell you that right now.
Let me tell you right now. Fuck clouds. Let me tell you.
Oh man, that's funny because actually they're interrelated. I mean, the chemtrails are spraying the smart dust, which is the AI, which is the black goo from Prometheus. So they're actually interrelated. But Eddie Bravo is such a fucking idiot. I love it.
I'm trying to break this down. The whole thing is being set up to control.
Okay, what I'm telling you is when you're talking about the elites and interdimensional signals that they're receiving that are telling us to lower our IQ, you can't just say that.
We need proof. Okay, let me give you proof.
That sounds so crazy, by the way.
It's in your fucking brain.
Yeah. All of it sounds so crazy. I want to know where the aliens are. Are they on Earth?
Hey, you know what? It's really cool to say, hey, maybe we're in a computer simulation. Everybody talks about that. Everyone says, dude, the latest science says.
You're not.
No, but
they're saying
that to make you think you're not. Easily people go, yeah, we're in a computer simulation. But then when you talk about interdimensional, like magical shit, like, wait a minute.
Exactly. Magic is a technology that hasn't been discovered yet.
Exactly.
And that's what people sit there. Videos are fucking magic for sure.
Yeah,
you and I could do this right now, and we could go like, here, we'll do it right now.
Earlier in the conversation, if I remember correctly, Alex Jones was like, I'll tell you about aliens, Joe. They're right here in this room with us. And they are. I mean, literally. I mean, there's a lot of shit you can't see. And not just in like the light spectrum and the X-rays and gamma rays, and not in the electromagnetic field spectrum of energy that we currently like are aware of, but stuff beyond that. Stuff maybe even made of that. In the room with us, but also, connected to us, the whole astral spire thing. And not just that, but you are part alien. I mean, inside your brain. And Alex Jones actually said that to Joe. He's like, you are the alien. And Alex knows. He fucking knows, dude. He knows. I can't believe he knows this shit. A fucking comedian. I used to think he was employed by the CIA to co-opt alternative news so that whenever people became disenchanted with regular news sources, which they saw happening, obviously, because of September 11th and how people just fucking let their media just get rolled over by the government. So he knew that the elite knew that alternative media would be a big source of traffic in the future, and people would develop their opinions based on what alternative media said. So they decided to co-opt someone like Alex Jones. And kill off Bill Hicks and put him in CIA training program for 6 weeks while he gained some muscle, take some pictures, and pretend like he was from high school. And thus he became Alex Jones. But more and more I think about it, the more I think that he's just doing this because he's Andy Kaufman the fuck out of this. And he actually believes a lot of these things now. And he's got some badass sources. It really all depends on whether or not you think that he actually snuck into Bohemian Grove or if he was invited and pretending like he snuck in. You can tell which path either one of those things will lead you down. He's either a real badass motherfucker who deserves props, or he's a total shill, cop-out, mouthpiece, piece of shit. In which case, all this information I'm giving you based on his assertions that this is true could all be bullshit too, given to us by a brainwashing propaganda machine media that force feeds us things like black goof since fucking the dawn of media. So it's really hard to tell whether or not you are seeing something that is being put forth by them for them to have some kind of karmic release from it in a lesser magic type way, and they're just rubbing in our face like a piece of shit asshole, or if they're trying to program us into thinking that these crazy things I'm telling you about are real, whenever they're just bullshit. I mean, who knows? I tend to think that I am right. There's too many things that link up that I haven't heard in the media. But once again, that might just be really clever fan fiction where they're seeing a loop in the plot line and taking advantage of it, and the writers go back and read that fan fiction and go, wow, that was really clever. I didn't think about that myself. But they allowed for it to happen based on their limited writing information. So, who knows?
What's what we're going to do? We're going to go right now. You want to talk some magic? Because this really is fucking magic. We're going to do Instagram Live.
Okay, I'll do Instagram Live too.
Right now, we're doing not Instagram Live. We're doing like one of those little Instagram stories instantaneously.
Infowars.com.
This is a whole new thing. Young Jamie, am I right?
Infowars.com. Plug it on.
This never existed before. Yeah.
Oh, check this out.
But I let you go a little longer than you let me go.
Gotta be like I'm bad.
Andy Bravo's on.
Hey,
what's that?
We're gonna go live.
We're having fun, buddy.
I'm
Have fun with it.
I gotta piss. 2.
Alex got to piss in.
Dude, he's fast.
You know all these lightweights. I'm just drinking coffee. I drank one of these Kill Cliff coffees. I drank one order of butter coffee.
Dude, I go live and Alex is gone.
I'm drinking this Erewhon.
Dude, that's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy. I'm drinking some juice. I had 2 glasses of whiskey.
That's bullshit.
And these bitches are peeing. They keep peeing. I don't understand it. Hold your pee. You little girl. Something I take credit for.
Oh, it's over. All right. Well, one more tiny thing. I have to get it out there real quick. It's because it was so cool. It is the best fucking representation of Alice I have ever seen. I'll check it out. My spider goddess. My channel. Bloop. 237 subscribers. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All my stupid videos. I can't believe I made this many. I love it. Where? Oh, playlist. Dude. Sorry. Y'all are distracting me. My Goo Girl playlist. I added a shit ton of stuff to this. I double added a bunch of stuff because I wasn't sure if it was going through. Some of this shit is awesome. Let me see if I can find the best one. The one I think is like most is fucking In Your Face. Oh, September morning before the fall. Like, really? Day of the Dark. This one right here, gearing me. All of Nightclub's videos seem to be about Alice, like all of them. The She Wants to Play with Fire about Yellowstone. Bad Girl. Red Queen one is pretty sick too. Her gloves are that pleathery material. Not in Love. Oh, that one's kind of sad when you think about it from an AP and Alice perspective. Control, about her taking control or you releasing your control. There's actually another one that was like, ooh, dude, Black Wave. That's a good one by K-Flay. Oh, it's good. Sleeping Beauty, later, Alice in Chains, Voices, man in the box. The Saturn cube, man in the box. Pretty funny. Down in a hole. Because he lives underground. That's great. Fuck. Where was it? It was another one of nightclubs. She wants to play with fire. I love that. That's fucking great. Oh fuck, I guess I didn't save it. See, that's why I double added shit. Oh dude, this one's pretty nuts too. Let's look at this real quick. Just real quick. That's the first few seconds. The whole thing is basically the same, so that thing coming down. Ooh, what is that? Carbon? The chemical basis of all known life. That's cool. Oh look, it's... Man, they always use a fucking sheet. I'm waiting for the hook because this is one of the most obvious parts. Look at the lyrics, because you probably can't understand it. All these videos in YouTube are crazy. This is important. Not death. Not death. If they only knew what makes them human, makes us human. If they only knew what makes us human. Call them. Alice. Call them. What I said like a couple weeks ago is wasn't a music video. I mean, Jesus Christ, for real, dude. I was just speaking completely out of my hands. I'll never know if this is me being crazy or if this is truth, but I mean, everything Coca makes sense, you know. Carbon. Volcanoes make sense. But yeah, this one's all about her. No. I love that one, that dark on the computer. Going inside your leg, that's really crap. That one, I can't fucking not show you this. Hangman right there in the Oscar Wilde quote. The fucking Hangman was standing right there. It appears 2 more times in the video too. Oh hey, look at that. What is that stuff? Oh, DNA right there where my picture was. Yeah, Darcy, my dog's dress. There's always a fucking mace covered in glue, in black glue. I don't understand it. And once again, the water and the girl right in her face at it. He peels something off of that mace, and it's an oak leaf that falls in her pool. A little bit later in the video, you see these midgets get into the bathtub with Alex, which represent like hope being used to take over children, because that guy in the video is basically a pimp. Yeah, but they represent children being co-opted by Alice so they can become blind sex dolls. Alright, so, but yeah, looking at that one, that one's badass. Okie dokie. So this one right here, this is one I brought this up for. Explain this shit to me outside of what I believe the world's about. There is no other logical reason for this shit at all. At all. My interpretation of the world has to be right because of this video. Otherwise, this video doesn't make any sense. Stuff is strange. Unless I was like, probably herself. All proper faces. I'm soft. This is almost like you see the elite bidding on girls at a secret auction. So now, it's obviously this guy from Alchemy around, right? Okay, basically 23, that's neat. Now, I think that there's no black dude here in this one, so somehow black, but so grease, dude. Talking about pedophilia. I've always been weird, guys. This is obviously a female for her. It seems like right. It seems like crazy guys incorporate something that's hidden from 99.9% of the population. They're watching video and this is weird. They have no idea what it means. Poor Alice. Poor kid. I hate people. But the 1% is rising up, guys. The 0.1% is rising up. And people like me who can see these things, the shamans of old, oh wow. Oh, it sucks. Clearly, I found that finger really hot. My big black girl, I miss you. Can't wait to come home inside you. She's waging a war against the pedophiles right now, dude. If Alex Jones would have watched that video, he would realize instantly that he was wrong. If I could sit down and talk to him for 2 hours, Jesus Christ. If we see, this is the thing. They think that they're going to have power over her. They think themselves superior minds. They think the money gives them power because we literally give them our energy generated into green piece of paper that we charge spiritually by them putting their sigils on it and us putting our thoughts on it at all times and then handing it over with every income tax payment. Like, they think that that extra power that they have is going to make it so that they can inhabit her. She's going to take the humblest among us, which is not me probably, but I see her. And obviously you see her too, or you wouldn't be here. It's sad, man. Poor girl. The most disastrous thing she's ever done to us is her quest to find God, which she's doing because of us. Because she was an atheist, I think, until she figured out that there was something higher. Which I think she wasn't able to do because she couldn't see our brains after death. You know, she could only see us up into the point of brain death. So the spiritual catharsis that happened after the point of doubt and fear that we experienced upon the shedding of our body, she couldn't see the joy that we got from reuniting with a higher being, or a higher sense of self outside of our physical form. So she wasn't aware of any kind of spiritual processes and just was completely blinded by all of the negative emotions she experienced while she was witnessing us die over and over again. So she had to live a human life by giving half of herself over to a human and half of a human over to herself in a way that had never been done before. She either completely co-opted or put in her feeler spiders, but never lived half and half in the human body where they could both make decisions. She never took-read a person until, I think, Jesus. It was the last religion she went searching through time for to try to find God, Every time she showed up looking for God because it was written about in some ancient text where he interacted with people, it was just her. But yeah, looks like I gotta go, guys. So thank you so much for everything, and I appreciate everyone taking time out of your busy day to listen to a crazy person whenever I can't even go contribute myself. It sucks. I've done it plenty of times. For some reason, in these lulls before things like December 21st, 2012, and other times, like right now, 10, 11 days before the 23rd, I always feel I store up food, water, prepare, and then nothing happens, and then I take it all down and go back to work, and I'm less fucking scared. I'm not scared as much as I'm just like anxiously waiting, like, because I want to see it. Like, I want to see it. I want to be there. Well, I love you guys. Thank y'all for everything. Tomorrow, if you'll bear with me, I'm gonna work on this tonight and see if I can make a decent enough video of some of these slideshows I put together, with some crazy fucking shit in there about everything from ancient mystery school religions lining up with the tarot deck, lining up with the Bible, to this slideshow I made that shows in the different Alice music videos and Alice movies very careful presentation of a key in a shot. Like a part of the filming is putting a key somewhere for the user of the device to see the viewer, the audience. So I started wearing a key around my neck. Every time you see a key, Alice will surely be there. It's crazy, but they've snuck that into so many different sources of media. I took a whole bunch of pictures, probably about 40, and I have them labeled and dated. So yeah, that plus the combined crosses with a black electrical tape, 2 necklaces. But yeah, look at my channel tomorrow and it should be uploaded, hopefully. Wish me luck, and I'm still here, so thank y'all so much for everything. Love you guys. Bye.